Now, police using lethal crowd control weapons to disperse protesters has seen the country burn down, with many families losing their loved ones, which is a bad demeanor even to the international community. A two-day criminology and criminal justice conference held at the United States International University, Africa, focused on improving and strengthening the police unit in Kenya. James Othiambo with the details.
The recent unrest experienced in the country, brought about by the anti-government maandamano led by the opposition side, brought to light what many have termed as a grave infringement of public freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. Police have been put on the spotlight for using excessive force during protests. According to Amnesty International, 27 people are believed to have lost their lives courtesy of police bullets, though the government has refused to acknowledge the findings of the report. In the last 2 days, a criminology and criminal justice conference held at the United States International University, Africa, that brought together students and stakeholders in the criminal and justice sector to deliberate on these issues.
So we normally hold this conference each year so that we can encourage discourse between academics, practitioners, students in the area of criminal justice. So this year's theme was about protect and serve, promoting better policing through shared best practices. And we were able to bring together different stakeholders in the justice system, from CSOs, government agencies, and even other practitioners, academics, and even students to share their research in the area of policing.
The Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, which has been called upon to address the conduct of the police in the past event, was also represented. IPOA Director Elema Halake, who also was in attendance, told GBS TV that the authority will soon be releasing findings on the events that occurred during the maandamano.
And yes, during the recent maandamanos, there has been, of course, situations where the police and the public have had a bit of clash. Certainly that is a matter of concern, and IPOA will be able to give a very comprehensive monitoring report in the near future, very soon. And certainly there are cases, complaints IPOA has picked up in the course of that, in those demonstrations. Those cases have now been taken up by IPOA, and IPOA currently is actively investigating.
Moronge Obonyo, an advocate of the High Court, one of the panelists in the session, believes it is the police that provokes protests to turn violent, and should they act differently, causes of violence could be mitigated.
Protesting in itself is not criminal, although we've had some instances where protests turn violent and so on. But from most accounts that I've heard is that they usually turn violent after the police try to stop them. The police are not supposed to be against protesters in the sense that it's an antagonistic relationship. They're supposed to be there to keep the peace, to maintain order, not to, be sort of a countervailing force against protesting, because protesting itself is allowed.
The importance of IPOA and its effect on the society and impact on the work of police could not be underestimated, as explained by Tilda Ndegwa, a law student in Chuka University who conducted a research on the same.
So according to my study, I found that yes, the accountability affects the performance of the police, and then professionally they don't affect them. They are okay with, unajua washafunzwa kwa training, so professionally they're okay. And then both the public and the police were neutral on the holding the complaints. About their complaints, they were neutral about it. They found it's okay. I recommended that one, IPOA, earlier on the director mentioned on awarding the outstanding awards that are given to the police officers. I recommended that they add the awards to motivate the police officers to work for the people better.
The use of lethal crowd control weapons have become popular in Kenya, especially during protests. This has painted the police in bad picture, especially during their engagement with the public. IPOA is yet to conclude its investigations on police excesses during the anti-government protests, which is anticipated for by the public. Will victims of the police atrocities find justice? James Odhiambo, GBS News.